things that I saw in Facebook right now, where a lot of sellers complaining that buyer complaints about service courier. So guys, this is a bit of how you guys can do. Right, search the claim. Right, so understand why they complain, then only you can help them accurately. So some sellers, I saw that people complaining about saying that the product they receive is very late, but it's not because of the seller fault, it's because of the service courier fault. So you need to explain, you need to research the claim, why, all right? So when you know the reason why, then it's easy for you to explain it to them. All right, you need to tell them what is the actual situation that happened, why that this particular buyer received their parcel late. Okay, so take this extra work that you guys can do. Okay. Number 2, really listen and offer support. All right, sometimes it's not about money or refund that make them happy, but they may be complaining about post laju, which they want your help with the claiming process. So just go ahead, do this because you are giving a very excellent customer service. All right. And number 3, do not challenge their complaint. No point to make them angrier. You can suggest them an alternative solution and make them feel you try your best to help. All right. So this is one way. I'm so sorry for your concern. Thank you so much, but there's nothing much I can do for you. Probably I can give you guys a different solution. Probably you can just go to our shops and buy another one. I give you a free discount. So this is probably one of the way how you guys can what we call that be more friendly with your customer. All right. And number 4, implement a resolution process. Familiarize yourself with common questions and their solutions. So this is one of the way. Okay. So now, number 2, topics number 2, understanding the chat response rate. So I think a lot of sellers as well lately been complaining to us, not just on to Shopee, to Facebook. I see it in Facebook, people keep screenshot, showing everything. So basically, the chat response rate is being calculated based on whether you have responded to the user chat in time and the speed of your reply. So it's based on 2 criteria here. Whether is it responded or the speed of the response. Okay. So number 1, when you receive a chat, you need to respond. You have to make sure you respond. So what action considered as responded? Right. Number 1, accepting or declining an offer. Even though you did not type anything, but if you accept or declining an offer, can be considered as responded. Number 2, sending a message back to the user who made an offer. There's a buyer who suddenly make an offer to buy this product at certain price. So you send a message, so that one is considered as responded. Okay. Message back to the buyer who initiate the chat. So now anyone who initiate the chat, okay, anyone who initiate the chat, they will hold the roles as a buyer. So you as a seller, you need to respond. Okay. So the buyer, they doesn't have to be the last person to end the chats. Okay. If the seller respond the chat after 12 hours, it will not be considered as responded. Always remember this, guys. If you respond after 12 hours, it will not be considered as responded. So that's why the second criteria here is the speed of response within 12 hours or more than 12 hours. Okay, so the calculation of the chat response rate will be calculated on base average chat response rate for the last 90 days of your stock. Okay, so everyone know okay for this? So always remember, guys, I know that some cases where the person who initiate the chat, all right, is the sellers themselves. All right, they are sellers and also a buyer. Okay, so always remember, anyone, whether you are a buyer or a seller, if you initiate the chat first, you will be holding the roles as a buyer. Therefore, you don't have to be the last person to end the chat. Okay, so this is one of the best improvement that we have done so far. Okay, how about I receive broadcast from another seller? Same. So broadcast, you don't have to do anything. Broadcast doesn't calculate it in the chat response rate. I receive a lot of chat response rate. I receive a lot of chat broadcasts, but I didn't reply to any of it. Okay, if I reply to that chat response rate, to that chat broadcast, meaning I'm is starting initiate a chat as a buyer. So therefore, I don't have to be the last person to end the chat, even though I'm chatting with another sellers. Okay. So it's no longer infinity loop, all right? So Sean, I reply them, they reply me, I reply back, infinity loop, right? So you don't have to reply to ignore broadcast. Yes, correct. You ignore broadcast. But if you reply, right? Remember, Sean, if you reply to the broadcast, you will be holding the role as a buyer, not as a seller. So that's how the system have been set up now. Okay, so meaning you are the one that initiate the chat. Broadcast is not manually chat, but it's automated chat, so it will not count as initiate the chat. So you initiate manually, you reply to that broadcast, and the seller have to reply, and the seller have to be the last person. Also, you don't have to be the last person. If the buyer replies thank you, we reply back thank you. Okay, then same as well. If the buyer replies as welcome, you send an emoticon. All right, you send an emoticon. Make sure you are the last person. The buyer should know by now they don't have to reply anything. Okay, so everyone clear about this? All right. Auto reply, same or not with broadcast. So auto reply doesn't count as responded. So that's the first thing. Auto reply doesn't count as responded, and it's not the same with broadcast. Yeah, just send the monkey emojis, correct. Just send some Sean and Sophie, okay? So topics number three is the actually using the web chat. So what is actually what is the Shopee web chat portal, right? So basically, Shopee web chat portal is an instant messaging portal on webs that enable sellers to interact directly with the buyer conveniently and efficiently. To make you guys understand better, I'm pretty sure you guys have done this before. We call it the WhatsApp web, where you don't have to use your phone, where you can open your WhatsApp on the laptops of your computer, right? Same goes like Shopee, you can open a web. All right, a web chat portal just for Shopee chat rather than you just chatting through the phones. Okay, so this is actually where you guys can provide much more excellent customer service to the buyer. Okay. So the benefits of Shopee web chat portal, basically you can generate more sales. Why? Because you can clarify buyer questions about your products to drive better conversions. Yes, it's a lot easier. It's a lot convenient for you to convince the buyer saying that, hey, just buy this product. I have this proof. I have this picture. You can watch this. You can watch that. So it's a lot easier to compare for you to use your phone. Okay. And number two, communicate clearly. Right, so basically you can refer to specific order details or product. So every time when the buyer chat with you, you can see on the chat section what is the product that this particular buyer are referring to, what kind of order that this particular buyer are referring to. So all the details will be provided to you guys. So it's a lot easier. So you don't have to go and check. Go back and forth and check to a different page. It's all under one page, which is the Shopee web chat portal. Okay, number three, achieve high operational efficiency, right? So you can answer the buyer promptly and more efficiently using pre-saved shortcut messages and also auto reply. So this is one of the way how you guys can do. Okay. What if we want to update to buyers, so we chat them but no response? So you don't have to worry because you're still holding Nurul Shahira, you're still holding the roles as a seller. So if you update the buyer, right? So you are chatting with them as a seller. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay. So if they did not reply to your chat, then it's okay lah. So it won't count as you are not responding because you already chat with them. Okay. So now how to access the web chat. So basically guys, the web chat, you guys can go to your seller center, right? So you go to your seller center, there's a chat icon on the chat section there. So you just click on a full in your Shopee web chat.